I hope the music's fine. I hope everything's the audio's fine. Today we'll be doing in history of Indonesia, a history class because today is Indonesia's Independence Day. I think it's the 77th year. So 17 August 1945. So yeah, that's the actual date of the independence. But to celebrate that, I've like this morning I was just watching um the flag ceremony. So they put the flag into the how do I say, into the pole, like you rack it up with the rope until like, yeah, that's the flag ceremony essentially, which is they live stream it from the president's office. Is it an office? Is it a cafe? I can't really. I don't really know the English term for it, but well, if it's a literal translation, it is a castle, like president's castle, but it doesn't make sense in English. So it's a president's office. Like, well, essentially, it's where the president work every day, like the White House, like in the equivalent of the White House in America. So yeah, they put on like the traditional clothing, and then they have this special team to just do the flag ceremony. So it's the most awaited moment. Everyone kind of like stops for like about 5 minute ish. Everyone in the nation, so to just watch that because it's a magical. Even I find it magical. So it's not like you do that every time in high school. I saw that multiple times during high school, like the flag ceremony. I even get to be part of one of the staff that actually do the flag, like attend to the flag, but um, not much apart from that. Um, do I say this? More like the one in the flag ceremony. That's the one that being live streamed. It has like a team. They train for a long, long time, and yeah, they are very good. They are very synchronized in moving, like across the field. And then it's not like very simple like the school one. They normally have like three staffs, attending to the flag, but this one they have like I think 20, even some armies. I think like the soldiers. Yeah, so that's there. Anyway, back to the history of Indonesia. Today, I guess I'll be covering a couple of things. Mainly, first thing, I just give you a background of the Indonesia archipelago. Sound kind of weird? Hang on, hang on. Okay, let me turn off this. Ah, I was adding. Hey, hello, hello, Kai. Is it better? Is it better now? Is it better now? It's the same mic. It's the same setup. It's the same how do I say this? It's the same thing. Everything's the same. Um I did restart my oh no. Is this better? Is this better? I hope it is. Is it my pop filter? Huh. I do realize yesterday I was recording something else using the mic and the pop filter, and it just kind of like very low in volume. I swear it sounds really compressed. Did I did some compressor just now before, and I removed the audio filters now. Is it any better or is it not? Hmm. I hope I hope it's okay. This mic, it's at the maximum at the OBS. I can't turn it up low like higher, but it does shows up as quite compressed from what I can see. Hmm. Hang on. Microphone. Yeah, nothing changed actually. Yeah, oh no, it hasn't really changed. So sad. Oh, hey, I don't know what to do. I don't know what happened to this, to be honest. Hmm. But is it any better or is it nothing? Not really. How do I change this? Noise suppressor, expander, gain, limiter? No, not really. Compressor? No, I don't want to compress myself even more, right? Hmm. Anyhow, sound the same. Okay, then I might better off just put my pop filter so that my mouth doesn't touch the microphone. But yes, okay, I have to play around with that after this. And I might just speak a bit louder for today. I hope that's okay. But yeah, I don't know. Unless you know how to fix this. I can't. Like, I wasn't using any filter. Well, I was using filters, but now not anymore. But if it's the same, then I don't know what to do. Otherwise, I can reset my mic first. Hang on, is it better? Is it better? I just resetted my mic. I hope it is better. I hope it's not as compressed. You yeah, I don't know what I don't know what happened. Anyway, today what we'll discuss is the first one being a little bit of a background of Indonesia archipelago, and then the Hindu Buddhist time. So, in by Indonesia archipelago, I mean like the map, the flag, a little bit of like the background about Indonesia, really, where is it located and all that. Hindu Buddhist time is because so we're trying to I'm covering before uh it'll be fine and okay. Thank you, girl. Ah, thank you, girl. But yes, thank you for letting me know. I'll figure it out after this, or maybe it's just my OBS acting up because they did someone mentioned that the OBS wasn't working after the latest Windows update. And yeah, it just updated on me yesterday. So maybe that's that. Maybe that's that. Maybe it's a glitch. Hindu Buddhist time being it's before, so it's like kind of like a lot of religion. Like Indonesia has five, like I think recognized as five religions. I think there's more. Like if you count like every like different province, like different province has a different culture, and that different culture has different religion. So yeah, it's that Hindu Buddhist is when the Hindu and the Buddhism came to Indonesia, and then it brings to, how do I say this, more like a castle, a kingdom, emperor era. And then the spread of Islam is coming after that, because of like traders and exporters and imports, like business basically, because Indonesia is situated like we have a lot of nation with a lot of seas, so there's a lot of ports, there's a lot of land. So the spread of exporters, importers, and business kind of like brings us together. And then I'm gonna move on to colonialism and independence after that. So yeah, this is the map of Indonesia. Don't ask me why I put the red and white here. It's because the flag is red and white. So the map of Indonesia, I think they essentially has like 18,000 of island. I think that's what the last count is, 18,000. That's including all this little small island all scattered around the sea. So all of this, imagine all of this is like the blue seas, and then those that's like marked red and white are actually the island, like the land. And so there's this one big land. So there's I think one, two, three, four, five, six. It's kind of like five or six big lands really. The first one being Sumatra. So this is the um east. No, hang on. West. The most west. Can't even get my compass right. This is the most west, and then this is the most east. So Sumatra, and then this is Java. Java Island is where the you can't see my mouse. Hang on, I forgot that. Let's have a setting. How do I change this? Properties. Capture cursor. There you go. Now you can. Now you should be able to see it. Yes. So this is Sumatra that I was talking about. Yep, this is Sumatra. So this one, oops, okay, well, okay, this is Sumatra. And so this is Sumatra. Hang on. Number one, Sumatra. This one, this one. Number two, Java Island is this. This is the most populated island out of the big ones. This is the most populated one. Everyone stays here, and the capital city is in here. Bali is somewhere around here, like this little thing. That's just one island. But yeah, Java is huge and massive, and it's just like full of business basically. Jakarta is around here, like closer to the one to the left rather than the right. Like Bali is here, like on closer to the right of the Java island. Um, and then number three is Kalimantan, this big island here. It's a lot of forest, and then I heard a rumor that they're building the president's office, like the new one, in here, somewhere in this island. I'm not quite sure. I haven't updated my news, but it's somewhere in this island. Number four is this like the K looking island. Like it's kind of like a K, right? I always called it a K looking island. It's Sulawesi. And then there's this one as well, kind of like a small K. Um, not so much like not very popular island, but it's kind of like a considered a rural area. But yeah, but that's kind of like quite big compared to the all of the little island that we have. So we kind of count them sometimes. Some of them doesn't. Some historians won't count this. Some historians does. So yeah. And the last one, the big island here, the kind of like camel neck looking is Papua. So it has a lot of mining. So this is like a lot of undeveloped island. So Australia is somewhere under here, somewhere. Like go down a little bit on the globe, and then yeah, Australia will be there. So Australia to Bali isn't too far, but to say if you go to the most western island here, like this part of Indonesia, it does get a bit like, some time, take some time. Yeah. Ah, there you go. I said it earlier before. Country of 17 to 18,000 islands, and yes, 922 are permanently inhabited. 18, not 18, out of 18,000, about 8,000 is named. So you imagine that there's a lot out there that we don't know about. And in the early 21st century, we are the most populous country in the Southeast Asia. So yeah, Southeast Asia has like Singapore, which is like a tiny land as well, tiny island. Malaysia, a bit bigger. Vietnamese, I think second most populous in Southeast Asia back then when the census happened. I think it's Philippines. So yeah. And I think we are also we have quite a lot of islands as well. Like I think it's number top three or something in the world that has a lot the most island. Yeah. Interesting, interesting. And oh, I just highlighted this one here. We because we have a lot of space, right? If you see the map, it's kind of like a big chunk of island. It's a big chunk of the world, I guess, as a nation. We have a lot of tectonic plates. So when I came here to Australia, everyone was like, if there was one back then, I think there was one earthquake. It was like pretty small, and everyone was freaking out. But me, because I earthquake, I experienced it like a lot. Like by a lot, I think at least 10 times in my life. So because of this, like Indonesia has a lot of tectonic plates, and the movement between tectonic plates goes to earthquakes. So yeah, that happens. A lot more story about the earthquakes later, but yeah, that's Indonesia really. If you see any Indonesians, you'd say they'll probably experience one or two earthquake, and then it's kind of like at least one of them would be the big one. I feel. Well, that's me. Hiya, yo yo. And it spans two faunal realms. So I think you see at the map, I can't remember if it's like up and down or it's kind of like split between in the middle. I'm pretty sure it's kind of like in the middle. So one side has like kind of different climate to the other, and then therefore like different fauna and flora. So different animals, different plants, different, yeah, everything really. It's kind of like a significant difference as well. And we have susceptibility to seismic and volcanic activity. I say yes, a couple of area where it's closer to the mountain. There'll be like some volcanic activity, so you can see it. Sometimes there's some evacuation happening because of that. And yeah, Close proximity to sea, of course, we have plenty of sea. And tropical climate is pretty humid in Indonesia. As far as I can remember it, it's about like on normal. So we don't have winter. Indonesia doesn't have winter. It's just rainy or sunny. Rainy, sunny, cloudy. Doesn't really have much season or drought, like really like just no rain at all. Um, it's about 30 degrees, I'd say 30 to 35-ish degrees Celsius, like in terms of weather, like normal day. And humidity quite high. Just I don't know how high, but it feels pretty moist there. It compared to that Indonesia, Australia is pretty dry, unless it's like raining and wind, yeah, and all that. But yeah, that's a background about Indonesia. Or the flag. I put the flag here. Like, see, this has the pole. This is what I was watching this morning, like the ceremony to put the flag into the pole, kind of like with this people that kind of put the rope into the flag and then rack it up there. Hindu Buddhist time. Yes, 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 yes. So from the second century through the Indian dynasties and also Indian dynasties entered and spread their culture because geographically looking, we are not too far from Southeast Asia, kind of like the India dynasty kind of moved from Southeast Asia, like Vietnamese, Thailand, goes down and down, and they finally found Indonesia. I think I just put a couple of kingdoms, emperors, basically kingdoms that are made during this Hindu Buddhist times. First one being Tarumanagara, so about 358 to 669 CE. I don't know what CE is. I think before century basically. Before century? No, that's not right to say that, right? Anyhow, located in West Java, close to modern day Jakarta. So like here somewhere in the map right here. Okay. I'm going back here. Oh yeah, it is so it has a lot of like inscriptions, one of them being Chiarutun inscription located near Bogor. So from the history wise, when last time when I learned history in high school and like before then junior high and before then again elementary school, hydrate. Oh gosh. I don't have water again. I don't have water again. Uh, let me get some water. Mute my mic. See if it's any better. Okay, I'm back. I'm back with the water. Okay. How are you? I am good. Just starting out. Just starting out the stream, really. Happy Independence Day. I know. Thank you, everyone. So yeah, the Hindu Buddhist times, they have like last time I was in high school, um, we learned a lot of artifacts and basically all of this stones looking thing, full of basically it's more kind of like a Bible or like before paper was invented, people used to write whatever the history is in the in piece of stones or like any metals really if it was the metal age. So so yeah, that's what's one of the Cheriton inscriptions is. I think Cheriton is more of a statement of the emperor, more like. Yeah, it's located near Bogor, so it's kind of like Bogor is modern day Bogor is just beside Jakarta. So yeah, that's that. That's the first emperor, no, emperor, not emperor, kingdom. The second kingdom in the Hindu Buddhist time being Sriwijaya. That's Indonesian style. English style Sriwijaya. You missed Jakarta. Have you ever been there? Have you ever been? Anyone has ever been to Indonesia, any part of Indonesia, doesn't have to be Jakarta, any part. So Sriwijaya dominated the politics during the 7th to the 11th, or 800 to 1200 CE. Basically, kinda like after Tarumanagara, like ruler ends. So it's based in Sumatra though, so it's a little bit different. So it's kind of like in this island, this big island. So Palembang is in this big island, not because Jakarta is in different island. So yeah. And it is because it has a port and it's closer to where the rest of the Southeast Asia, like Singapore and Malaysia, is. So it became a route that's yeah, it dominated the spice route traffic and the local trade. So if there's any exporters or traders that was about to come to Indonesia, Sriwijaya will kind of control like the sea and like the entrance of it. So it has a lot of power. You lived there when you was a kid. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Which part? Which part of Jakarta do you remember? Can you speak Indonesian then? I think third and the last that I put today, like there's a lot more, but I just put like just a couple, just for example of the Hindu Buddhist time, Medang and Mataram. So I think it's more like I know it as Mataram all the times, but when I check the facts, some people call it Medang. So I don't know if it's just Indonesian English translation kind of difference, but regardless, it is the same. This is the same kind of kingdom. It's based in Central Java around modern day Yogyakarta between 8th and the 10th of centuries. So somewhere here. And Yogyakarta is one of it's one of the country, no, not country. It's one of the city where it's really close to the mountain, like the volcanic mountain. So there's a lot of volcanic activity there. So it's ruled by Sailendra dynasty, and then there's like some civil fight happen. Um, civil fight happened, and then it's taken over by Sanjaya, and it also constructed Borobudur, the largest Buddhist monument in the world. So kind of like I went there. Actually went there, um, Borobudur, and then it was sad to see because I went there the first time when I was like really young, and then it was like well taken care of. Um, like the stones are looking fine, and the statue, because they have like the Buddhist statue like scattered around the monument. So it is well taken care of. This it's kind of like brushed and properly looking, clean everything. But the next time I came again, which is like about 10 years after the first visit, it was like full of mold, and yeah, it's kind of like not really well taken care of, but maybe because it gains a lot of popularity, or like because the travel was like really like okay, the second times I came there, it was a high season like for travel. So maybe because a lot of people are coming there, they don't have time for the maintenance bit. So hence why it seems a lot not very well taken care of. But maybe it's just the time, they just don't have the time for doing that. But it's still there, Borobudur, and if you do go to Indonesia, I recommend you to go and have a look. Yeah, even if you're not Buddhist, I'm not Buddhist myself, but I do check them out. We discussed this. Oh yeah, we does. Yes, we did actually. You don't speak it, but you live there, and the food and culture sticks with me. Yes. Your favorite dish is still rendang for the last 15 years. Oh, nice. So if you don't know rendang, it's a beef kind of dish. I won't say it's kind of a stew. It doesn't have as much like broth as a stew, so it's more like reduced than a stew. Um, some parts of Indonesia make it like the beef to be like instilled in like cube shape, like just you just cut it and then it's still cube shape when it came to your plate. But some I like it when it's a bit like crushed, so it's like a bit more tender. replace the beef with lamb. Oh yeah, it works. It works. It works. It's just like it packs a lot of spices as far as I know. I can't make it myself here, and it's one of the dish that I kind of wish I knew how to make it because I kind of miss it sometimes. Yeah. Moving on to the spread of Islam. So, how do the Islam came to Indonesia? Because if you know Indonesia, I think about 90% of the population now is Islam, like has the Islam religion. Like I said before, we do acknowledge like five different religion, but at the same time, the majority of people do take Islam beliefs. So although Muslim traders first traveled through Southeast Asia early in the Islamic area, the spread of Islam is because it starts from 13th century in northern Sumatra. So um, I think even until now, the city that is the most western part, well, I don't know, more northern part of Sumatra Island, it's like I think almost like 95% of them, the citizens there, are like has this Islamic beliefs. I feel like I haven't been there, but that's what I've heard of. It's driven by the trade links outside of archipelago. Traders and royalty kingdoms were first to adopt the new religion. I think back then, even in high school, one of my friend asked like, okay, how does it spread so fast? Like Islam, how does it spread so fast? So we asked the teacher this. The teacher came back to us saying that because adopting Islamic belief is pretty quick. It's a pretty quick process. You kind of have to go and then like and with other religion, it's kind of like they try to make it as hard as possible. So they kind of like pass your belief test before they accept you. Islam doesn't do that, so that's why it's really fast. According to the teacher, I don't know how that just stucks with me until now. That knowledge. Oh, you love making it with your mother. It's such a scrumptious meal. Oh yeah, it is. It is. It is. It is very nice. Eat it with rice. Eat it with even with rice. It's just nice. Oh yeah, okay, moving on to the colonial era. So after the Islam spread throughout the country, right? We came to 16th century, so basically, and then successive waves of Europeans, the Portuguese, Spanish, Dutch, and English, they came to see Indonesia for spices trees. Like Maluku. So this is the island, the small K island. This island is Maluku. This island is Maluku, this little cave. So they pack a lot of spices. They pack a lot of oh, hang on, wrong ones. There you go. So it's called Spice Islands back then. And it's because the Muslim merchants they came to Europe and they racked up the price. So to the point that the Europeans were like, let's go just find it ourselves. So they they went on a trip. They took their boat. They took their ship. They went to Indonesia, and that's how the kind of the colonial era begins. Really, the first one that came was Portuguese. So I don't know how the route came to be, but they were the first Europeans to arrive in Indonesia. They came there, and because Portuguese, I think even until now, they are they're majorly dominated by Portuguese by Catholics Church. So they came there with that beliefs to Indonesia, and they kind of spread Christian beliefs, which is still there up until now, and they went to Maluku, and then through military conquest and alliance with local rulers, essentially like all the kingdoms that has been there before, like all the little kingdoms that I didn't really talk about. But essentially every back then before the colonialism came to Indonesia, a lot of um, a lot of kingdoms are like occupy the space everywhere in the island, everywhere in the nation. There's always at least one or two kingdoms there, and yeah, so they have been like working together with this Portuguese people who came there. And they establish trading posts, forts, missions. Basically, they get to stay there. They get to stay there in exchange of, like trading the spices and all that. Islam is more like you want to join us very well, just do these things daily and praise our Lord Allah, and you're in. I think so. I think so. I think that's the teacher told me, kind of like in similar way of thinking. Yeah, it's kind of like something similar to that, something in line. Mm. And so the next colonialism, the next European to came was Dutch, like the Netherlands. And they it's okay. So I copied this from the websites, right? And then just reading this out loud is like very unique sentence structure, I say. The Dutch followed the Portuguese aspiration, courage, and brutality and strategies, but brought better organization, weapons, ships, and superior financial backing. Meaning that for the Portuguese, I think they just came as a government, like one of the like missionary trip. This time the Dutch came, they created a VOC, or like Dutch Indies, like a company essentially that gave a monopoly on the trading activities in Java, really. And like they started off pretty well. Eddie, thank you for coming by. Happy Indonesian Independence Day, fellow Aussie Indonesian, yay! So yeah, the Dutch. Hello, yo. So yeah, it is. So the Dutch came and they got this company's VOC, and they started off pretty well. Like in Indonesia, they're like doing really good. They are well received by the locals. Independence Day. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. But essentially after that, so the Dutch, yeah, they conquered the West Java of Jayakarta. Jayakarta is the old name of Jakarta. So now it's Jakarta. But back in 1619, it is Jayakarta. So they now changed that. With the VOC in place, they changed the name of Jayakarta to Batavia. And after that, later on will be Jakarta. But now we're talking if it's Batavia, okay? And the VOC became deeply involved in the internal politics of Java in this period. So yeah, they started to be in politics. So they started to be try to be involved in everything really, and like the local like matters. And they created a lot of wars. So they sided with one of the kingdoms, and they were like, oh, we don't like the other kingdoms. So they kind of like create a fought like fights like wars between each other. Hi DZ, thank you. Yes, Independence Day. Happy Indonesian Independence Day. Can stay long. Have fun teaching history. Remember to hydrate. Oh yeah, okay. I finally got my bottle. Mm. And sadly can't stay long too, but this is amazing that you're telling the history of Indonesia. Keep up the amazing work. I hope I do justice. I hope I do justice. I hope I stay to the fact and do justice and be entertaining at the same time, if that makes sense. What they did was a classic example of divide and conquer. Kinda. You were right. You were right on there. Brilliant but very cruel. Yes. So they came in and initially they were all good, and then they kind of like side with one side, and then they kind of like create a war. Not really create a war. Kind of like propels the war to happen. Propelled, past tense. It happened in the past. And by the 18th century, so like all of this time they were like doing fights within each other, damaging each other, and eventually at the 18th century they established themselves firmly in the Indonesian archipelago, and yeah, they controlled business. Basically they controlled business. They create a situation in such a way that the kingdoms can't help but to rely on them. And in that way, in that sense, they gain some sort of power, some sort of authority, and control this inter-island trade business. And they get to get the obviously the spices that they wanted, right? Continue on. So a lot of our Indonesian history is thanks to Dutch, thanks to the Netherlands, thanks to this colonial period. They were there for I don't know how many years, but 200 plus maybe. 200 plus years that we were under Dutch, and of course that's why we are well a lot of our language, a lot of our dishes, a lot of our everything is a lot of things are influenced by them. And then, so 1800, eventually FVOC, this company, this Dutch company is dissolved. So they have the bankruptcy issues. I think it happens because of some internal issues in the Netherlands. Not quite sure on that, but essentially taken. They are like off. They are off from Indonesia, but 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 British came and under Thomas Stamford Raffles. So hang on, no, with so British came, but very short while, and then Thomas Stamford Raffles. Oh yeah, Thomas Stamford Raffles is a British guy. I forgot that. I kind of mixed them up here. I was like, is this Thomas Stamford Raffles? Is Raffles a Dutch or a British? I think he is a British. I'm pretty sure he is. So VOC and then British and then the Dutch government they say, okay, we're not gonna take over Indonesia by by just hiding behind a company. We're gonna move by ourselves. So as a government, we're gonna move by ourselves. That's what they did. So 1816, the Dutch government came over. Um, oh, wrong. Whoops, wrong ones. And yeah, so after the Dutch government came over, it's a bit tough, I feel. It's not just wars, it's more of a slavery as well, if I have to say about it. And so yeah, they have like this system of forced cultivations and indentured labor. So basically they go off to the farmers, like those who has like big lands, and they say that, you know what, because we rule here, this is our land, so you have to pay tax. And they ask for a crazy amount. Of course, all of these farmers they don't have the money, so they were saying that okay, you have to work in the government-owned plantation for 60 days a year, while we're gonna have everything that you have from the farm, like your own farm. We're gonna take it, and but you still have to work for us. That's kind of like manipulating them in a sense. Yeah, but that's what happened back then. That's what happened back then. You're curious if is there a big population of Dutch-speaking people in Indonesia, much like how there are many French speakers in Algeria. I think by now, not a lot of Dutch-speaking people in Indonesia. I know that they used to have this how do I say a kind of like a city or like a small city, not in Jakarta. I think it's like a rural city that all the Dutch people stays there. So Dutch people who previously came to Indonesia and they because independence happened, Indonesia independence. So they kind of have to move, like they kind of have to be pushed away from Jakarta, which essentially up until now is still the capital city where the president lives and all that. So they kind of get pushed away to this rural city, and they kind of like mingled with each other. They kind of mingled with the local citizens. So they have like generation and generations there, but not much. The national language is still Bahasa Indonesia, although because we are very populous, like 250 million by I think last year. I think I checked last year, 250 million citizens, and like spread out all throughout the country, right? So we kind of have our own accent, we kind of have our own language. So different part of Indonesia, different island have different language, different traditional like clothing, different traditional dishes. It's a lot of culture to take on. But speaking of Dutch, not a lot of people can speak Dutch. My grandma can speak Dutch. I just don't know how. I don't know how myself, but yeah, my grandma speaks Dutch. She knows how to count. She knows how to like speak like basic language, because back then when the Dutch colonialism happened, my grandma is about like 10 years old ish. like she was a little kid back then, but she does learn a little bit of the Dutch because of because they were using it on a daily basis. So yeah, it stuck with her, like this little amount of Dutch. Maybe there's a lot more like older generations that can speak Dutch than the younger ones at this day. Road to independence. So the Dutch came back at 1800-ish, 1816-ish, the Dutch government. And from there on, that the slavery happened and continues and continues and continues until eventually 1908, the first nationalist movement was formed. So it's called Budi Utomo. I'm pretty sure this is the leader name. So the first nationalist movement. So they came from young professionals and students, some of whom who had been educated in Netherlands. So what happened back then? I think the Dutch, so they bring their family, so they have to establish a school like education system in Indonesia, and not every Indonesian can enter the school unless you are your father or your parents have like this authority, like maybe your parents is a police or like a politician or a kingdom rulers back then. So those privileged kids can enter the school with the Netherlands. And eventually, these small groups of the professionals and students are the one that creates the first nationalist movement. So they realize that Indonesia can't stay under the Dutch anymore. We have to be independent, essentially, and they created this nationalist movement. So, but of course, the Dutch want to rule more, so they try to repress the nationalist movement, and yeah, including they arrested a lot. They arrested a lot of the heroes, but the most notable one is Indonesia first president Sukarno, because he is part of the nationalist movement, as well as Muhammad Hatta, so the first vice president. Yep. You love this so far. You learned. Okay. Thank you, Pio Pio. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for listening. Keep listening. Keep listening. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. And yeah, so a lot of other nationalist leaders are taken, but it's a lot of history to take on. I understand, so I'm just gonna put on this Sukarno and Muhammad Hatta. So that's the two names that you need to remember for the rest of the story, I'd say. So yeah, political activities. So they tried to push him down. I think they put them in the prison. I don't know if they like got some like beatings or any of that, but yeah, but we don't know what happened behind the scene. But this is what reported in the history. And yeah, okay, World War II. So World War II happened, and I think the Dutch are on the losing point. So they were captured by occupied by Nazi, and because of that, they have to retreat from Indonesia, essentially, because the Dutch government was in Indonesia, right? So they have to retreat back and save their own assets, really. And in July 1940, the Dutch redirected exports intended for Japan to the US and Britain. So they tried to still make business, but operating from remotely, which doesn't happen back then, which it just doesn't work. So they came negotiating with Japanese, and then it doesn't work with them. It didn't work. So back in 1941, the Japanese, so they started the conquest of Southeast Asia in December that year. So kind of like the Dutch are like running away because of they have their own problems, and then they try to solve their like Indonesia like business, like the business that they have established so far, like 100 and 200 years plus, maybe even more. And in doing that, they kind of propels Japanese to come and to Southeast Asia, specifically Indonesia, to kind of like have a look around and see what the Dutch has been doing, really. So they came by to Indonesia. In that sense, during the World War II, well, more like after the World War II, or kind of like right around there. So around 1942, eventually, so Sukarno, so the first president, right? He met up with Japan, so he was released after, like, because the Dutch was out of Indonesia. He was released. He met the Japan, and he kind of accepted Japan's offer to rally the public in support of the Japanese war effort. So he was like, Japanese came to Indonesia, basically essentially saying to Sukarno that, hey, we need you to gain public sympathy for us, really. So you please do a protest, a rally, whatever it is, a riot, whatever you call it, but please make it that they gain sympathy, they gain understanding of what we are here. That's what the Japanese are saying. So they did that, and eventually, because of that rally, Sukarno and Muhammad Hatta, so the president, the first president, the first vice president, they were invited by the Emperor of Japan in 1943. So they kind of like being promoted essentially as a like trusted man of Indonesia by the Emperor of Japan. A lot happens then until eventually in March 1945, the Japanese established the investigating committee for preparatory work for independence. So Japanese, they never intended, so like Dutch, they intended to never give us the independence, like Indonesia. But the Japanese, they were thinking of giving us independence, but they kind of like want to be the one behind the independence, kind of like, like the force behind. But they want to give us as a nation, they want to give us the independence. So they created a committee, which has, I think, half of it Indonesian, or majority of it Indonesian people, like all the Indonesian nationalist movement, and the other ones on the other side, I think it's being like it's like in the work. So the workers are all Indonesian, the managers are the Japanese. So they wanted to see what we've been doing essentially. Yeah, so they established that, see, in under the control of the Japanese 16th Army. So they controlled it. It's not like a free freedom, like freedom of speech. It's kind of like it's controlled. It's controlled independence. Yeah, so 1945, Sukarno, Hatta. So Sukarno, the first president, Muhammad Hatta, the first vice president, and Rajiman Weddiodiningrat, I think it's the first prime minister of Jakarta, I'm pretty sure. So they were flown to meet the Marshal Hisaichi Terauchi in Vietnam. So after doing all of this preparation for independence, they had to meet the Marshal. And they were told by the Marshal that we were going to have Indonesian independence on the 24th of August on 1945. But 2 days after that, so the bombing happens. If you know World War history, it's kind of like correlated with that. So there's some bombing happening in Japan, like in Japan's land, Hiroshima, and Nagasaki, if I remember that correctly. And because of that, the Japanese emperor surrendered in the Pacific. So under the using that opportunity, so the politicized Pemuda or youth groups, which is the nationalist movement, which also has Sukarno and Muhammad Hatta, like the president and the vice president, so they use that opportunity to go on independence. So of course there's a lot of things to prepare for the independence, but a lot of stuff they have, like all the paperwork, most of the paperwork they have done it during the groups, like the independence thing, like here the investigating committee work before. So obviously this is just this is the initial preparatory work. But after this group, in between here to like August 1975, there's a couple more groups that created essentially like more documents, more constitution that's like prepared for the independence. Until eventually they kind of like see the opportunity, and then they were like, we don't want Japanese to be lurking behind us. We want to be our own free nation. And they were saying that if we wait for the Japanese to announce our independence on 24th of August, we don't have that free, as a free nation. We would still be under the Japanese. So they didn't want that, and they proclaimed Indonesian independence. Hence why 17th of August 1945. Yay! And yeah, so during that they kind of like rush and make a ceremony. Not really rushed. I say rush because like the flag. So the flag itself has a history. I think I'm pretty sure the president's wife, is the one who created, and like soon the first flag, our first flag, red means blood, and then the white means like bone. So it's kind of like symbolizing the independence that has been made through the sacrifices of all people, you know, of all the citizens, essentially. So this is Sukarno, I think. Yes, it looks like him. I'm pretty sure I put him. A good representation, like comical representation of him, the Sukarno. So they did a ceremony, they elected the president, the vice president, and the prime minister as well. They choose like some other constitutional requirements, including the national emblems. This is the Pancasila. Yes. And so back then when I was doing school, a lot of this stuff are being taught, and even like Pancasila. So kind of like the five principles that we have to like keep in our heart. Essentially, we it's written on the back of our book, like notebook everywhere, to kind of like remember every time about it. But yes, that's that's the Indonesian history. That's a short summary of the Indonesian history, more like. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy this. I'm gonna see the websites, see if there's anything that I'm missing off. Sukarno. Oh, a lot of it is after the So after, oh yeah, I should say that during the Japanese, so the Dutch reigns over us for like about 200 years ish, right? The Japanese reigns over us about what, 5-ish years, I think, 5, 6, maybe less than 10 years. But it is, well, they kind of like have this separate treatment. So to people like Sukarno and Muhammad Hatta, which is very good in, you know, have an education background, and they have like voice of their own. They are treated well. But people who are not, and they are people who are not considered important by the Japanese government, they were taken away from Indonesia as war laborers. So Romusha, I think is the name, is the term in Japanese. And so they suffered from ill treatment or starvation. So yeah, a lot of like torture as well. um but so essentially it's more brutal, although it's much shorter time. um that's what like stuck in our head, like basically when every time I see the Indonesian history, that stuck in my mind. Yes. After that, it's a lot of after that. Like, you know, because gathering people, a lot of people, 250 million. Back then, maybe it's less, but it's like separated all over the nation. So yeah, it's kind of like tough to gather everyone. Like like Sukarno would be here in Jakarta, but like gathering everyone to agree that they would be a nation governed by one people, or like one like board, one legislative department. It's kind of tough at the beginning. So yeah, it takes a lot of time. So I remember that like when I was studying when I was a little kid, it was only like the province. It was like what, 28-ish, 28 province that has been declared as Indonesia. Now it has been 34. So there has been some like increase over the year. Some of it because the say Kalimantan or like Jakarta, like maybe Java, they used to split it, for example, right? They used to split it in 5, for example. Now they split it into 7, and then it becomes bigger because the city is more developed and everything. So yes, that's a lot of Indonesia. I'm still proud to be an Indonesian. We have a lot of different cultures. We have a lot of different language as well. You know, I can speak the Java language, like Java accent. It's not very, I won't say it's the best, like the most fluent language that I can speak. Of course, but like the normal formal bahasa is best. But also Jakarta accent. Everyone says that when I'm speaking in the Jakarta accent, I'm more like rapping. I'm like speaking really really fast. So that happened. So yes, that's the Indonesian history. Well, the summary of the Indonesian history. If you do, how I say, if you do are interested in more of it, like details of it, I'd say you go and read more of it. Um, I find the Wikipedia seems to be quite like factual, but a lot of other stuff as well. So if you want to specifically know about like the language, so you might want to go um, different web page really. Yeah. We have a lot of fossil, a lot of, yeah, during the like previously before the Islam happened and all that, we have a lot of fossil. And I remember in high school I did learn about all of those fossils, and I was like, why does this important, why is it important? I keep questioning the history teachers, like, why is it important for me to know all of this fossil, all of this past? And he was saying that because it's for you, it's your identity, it's part of your identity. So back then I wasn't really thinking much. I was just like, studying, I don't like this. But nowadays I find to enjoy it more. I seem to be enjoying it more. I was like, oh, I'm glad that I, actually have that knowledge with me, and bringing it here, bringing my culture to Indonesia, of Indonesia to Australia. Yes. Speaking of which, yesterday I went to the Australian citizenship ceremony. Not for me, it's for my brother. So he finally got it after long years of waiting. And it is really like, I just can't help but comparing, like, how different it is in terms of like Australian is also multicultural nation, but it's made because of migration. In Indonesia is made because we have like a lot of lands like spread out, and and everyone has their own stuff. So it's kind of like a different multiculturalism, I'd say. Although it's still good, it's still enjoyable. Like, I really enjoy the diversity of people. Like the oh yeah, okay, Indonesian. I was thinking of Indonesian song, like the national anthem. And let me just find it. Maybe I'll play it. Yes. Hang on. Make sure my desktop audio is on. I'll turn off BGM for a second and play this. Is it coming up? Nope. It's not coming up, right? The desktop audio. Hang on. I'll figure it out. Indonesia, tanah airku, tanah tumpah darahku. That's how it goes. But yeah, it's not happening for now. Still trying to figure it out. There. Hang on. Let's see if this works. Nope. Okay, I'll play it again now on screen. Turn off that. Let's turn that on. Go. Maybe I should turn it. There you go. Maybe that's better. Just wanted to show you the lyrics. You can see the translation of the lyrics there. Native land, the land that shed my blood, which is the white land. Yeah, thanks to the God of my mother's God, motherland. So this is more of like affirming the Lord. Like, this is my nation. Well, yeah, after all of that, you know, a big mission and all that, we kind of like have that. We want to be united, we don't want to be separate. Long live my land, long live my nation, people in Ireland, everywhere around. Build it full, build it body for a great Indonesia. The way we see things, like different islands are different. My land, my country. We normally sing this song while we have black ceremony. So we sing this while the flag is slowly being flying. Song. Yay. I'm back to here. And try to move the audio here. And yes, BGM now. Okay, BGM. I hope it's not too loud. I hope I didn't blast your ear just now. Oh my god. Oh, sorry. I really need to buy something for audio monitoring. Can't live like this anymore. Oh my god. And then the mic, I have to figure out what happened to my microphone and my OBS press possibly. But yeah, essentially that's the end of the history class for today. Yay! Anything else you want to know about Indonesia? I might do sometime in the future. I might do Indonesia food tasting, like snacks and all that. We can do the dishes if you are interested in the dishes. We have plenty of dishes, like rendang is one of the national dishes, fried rice and everything. So yeah, that's that. But for today, that's all. A little bit of updates, not really Indonesian related update. It's not like not like about history. Right, so I did Indonesian cooking stream. Oh, that'll be interesting. I think my best Indonesian dish that I can cook is the grilled chicken, like the grilled chicken oven baked, not really grilled, but like traditionally it's grilled. I just find a shortcut and make it make it not grilled. I just baked it basically, but it tastes the same with a lot of soy sauce, like the sweet soy sauce. So Indonesia use a lot of sweet soy sauce. A lot of our dishes are sweets. which is probably why I like sweets. Kinda correlates with each other, I guess. um, but yeah, Gruff, you've got your arts, the raffle. So story about that, right? I finished up the raffle. I asked the winners, Gruff and Kylan, like, hey, what pose, which one of the pose that you want. They specified what they want. I gave it back with the PNGs, the full body PNGs that they submitted before. I gave it to the artist, which is Indonesian artist. I just realized that all my fan arts for now, the one that I actually purchased, is actually made by Indonesian artists. Happens to it happens to be. I was just like scrolling through Fiverr and then just like, oh, this one's nice, this one looks good, price makes sense and everything, and then turns out everyone that I asked was Indonesian. I was talking to them in English. I don't know why. Anyhow, so the artist Irfan, or Pan Art, so he, when you place the order, even before I placed the order, even before the raffle started, I already sent him the post reference, the one that I also posted for the raffle. I asked him, like, oh, is this possible? Is this post possible? And then so we kind of like try to agree on a price, and and I told him, like, oh, it's gonna be a raffle. I'm gonna get the the reference after this, so give me some time. Then he was like, yeah, cool, just relax, just I'll be here, cool. So the raffle happened, and I came back to him, and he was like, yep, everything's all good, everything's perfect. I'll send him all the required documents, all the required references, paid all the services, and and they have the estimated time of like delivery of the art, and it was about 26th of August. So which is why I told last stream, I was like, oh, the art will be done in 26th of August, around 26, 28 maybe, because if there's any revision, I was thinking. No, he came back, like Irfan came back to me with the sketch, and then he was like, is this right? Is this okay? And I checked the sketch. I was like, yeah, this looks really good. Like the raw sketch, it looks really good already. And then he was like, okay, you're happy for me to go ahead? I was like, yep, happy to go ahead. And the next day, it's not even the next day, it's like the next day for me, it's not the next day for Irfan. Next day for me, next morning. No, not really next morning, it's more like the next afternoon, kinda ish. So and he came back to me, and he was like, there you go, I'm done. I was like, didn't you say 26th of August? He was like, yeah, but I'm done. I was like, okay, you're really quick. He was like, yeah. Then I checked with him. I was like, oh, is there any he kind of asked, oh, is there any revision needs to be done and all that. I was like, I checked all the colors. I tried to check everything. I tried to check everything before I send it to the winners. And nothing. I found nothing at fault. So I was like, well, it's already pretty good. I can't complain. There's nothing to complain. So I was like, okay, I'll accept the delivery. gonna tell Kylan and Gruff, because it's very early apparently. It was very fast. You were surprised. I was surprised too. I was sitting there waiting around, and so all of a sudden got notification on Fiverr. I was like, hey, didn't I just make the order? What happened? And yeah, it's all finished and ready. So yes, use them. And Gruff, if you look closely at the picture, you'll find a spoiler of my new model. I wasn't expecting it to be so fast, so I sent out the reference for my new model, for my new dress, to be included in the chibi instead of my current one. Because I thought that the chibi will be done after the model refill, which is gonna happen this weekend. So the model refill on Twitter. So I was thinking, yeah, it's gonna happen next week. It's fine. I'm gonna send a reference, like the new design reference. Nope, it came back faster. Came back faster than my procrastination to do model refill. Is that your new outfit? Spoiler! No, don't look at it. No one looks at it. Don't bust me out. and bust my new outfit out. But yeah, that's my new outfit. That's my new outfit. And then so Kai posted it on Twitter, and then I just realized after Kai posted, I was like, oh my god, that's my new dress. That's my new outfit. That's not supposed to be there. But it's okay, it's okay. It's like in the chibi form, so you don't really miss anything. People don't really miss anything. You still haven't seen my full form. But that post by Kai, we got commented by the official FIFA Twitter account. Like this morning I woke up and I was like, FIFA? Someone pretending to be FIFA on Twitter? No, and I checked and I clicked the profile, the commenter's profile. It was actually FIFA with 400k followers. So I was like, hey, hang on, what's happening? I don't know why. I don't know. Don't ask me why the algorithms be like that. You pretend you saw nothing. Thank you. But again, luckily it's in chibi form, so people won't really miss anything. You still haven't seen my true form. But yeah, I guess the fact that Graph can't even realize that it's a different outfit means that it's very similar to my current one, isn't it? It's that similar so that people don't, like, Kai doesn't realize either until I say it. I was like, hang on, that's not supposed to be there. So yeah, it's pretty similar color as well. Yeah, I'm keeping the hairpins on my head again. But yeah, that's for today. That's the history class. That's the update for today. And Twitter update. Speaking of arts, now that we are on the same topic of arts, I've got some spicy art. I'd say spicy art. Nothing tomorrow if I reach my so my followers count now is 1966. So if I wake up tomorrow there's 1969, it'll be a perfect time to post it. Spicy graph. Exciting things happening. But yes, shall await for that. You shall await. People shall await for that. Couple of spicy arts coming, and because so I was on Fever a lot last time because I was looking for I know that I'll be reaching 2k soon, so I wanted to get ready for, like, have an art ready for like celebrating 2k on Twitter. 2k on Twitter. I've reached 215 on Twitch. Good progress, I guess. 215 in a month, and I've been pretty good at maintaining consistent schedule. I say so myself. Consistent streaming schedule. So I'm pretty happy where I'm at now. And yes, I told Graph and Pike as well, but I really thank you for being here throughout my VTubing journey, and also supporting me throughout the journey as well. I try to give back as much as I can, but then again, there's only so much I can do apart from streaming. Of course, streaming is one way of me connecting with people, but I also want to connect beyond just like talking to you. And yeah, hopefully we'll get to 400 soon, and we can go tipsy shopping stream. Tipsy shopping stream maybe coming soon. But yes, let's go on a raid for now then. Anyone that you want to raid? Should we? I know who's missing. I just realized. I was looking at the chat. I was like, who's missing? Who's someone that's supposed to be here but isn't? Bailey, isn't it? Because I think the past few streams Bailey has been very active. So I was thinking let's maybe raid him. What do you say? Maybe let's raid Bailey. He's streaming Elden Ring now. And I think he raided me once. I haven't raided him back, so let's go. Let's go to Bailey's stream. See what he has to say about Elden Ring. And again, you love Elden Ring? I don't think I've ever played Elden Ring. I should look at him. Should have a look. Let's go. Let's go to Elden Ring, and that's all for today. Enjoy the Elden Ring. Bye. Bye for today. Bye everyone. Thanks for coming to history class and enjoying my talking about Indonesian history. Bye.